So, first of all, I would like to point out, I'm not really sure that he knows what a balanced budget is.
Really? Hi, folks. Welcome to the TOWTalk Podcast. This is Denise, and I'm here with Neil. Today, we're going to discuss the recent town board meeting that was just this past Thursday, the 23rd. So, Neil, tell us what happened because I was unable to attend. I actually wanted to attend, and I worked late and never got there.
Oh, same old fun as it always is, Denise. We don't miss anything in town because they don't actually ever say anything. Isn't that
Oh,
great?
there's nothing to miss then. It's all
Right.
wonderful.
Right. So it all depends on the way you read anything. Nobody, there are people who show up, nobody really talks. There were a few questions at the meeting. It was all nice and well and good, but let me get into it so that we don't, drag this out any further, any more than we need to at this point in time, because I think
Yes.
we've all had enough of sort of listening to this. So what I'm going to do is we're going to play the beginning of the meeting. Um so that people can kind of see, where it all started, right? Here we
Oops.
go.
2026 budget, supervisors budget. So the budget that was presented
It,
on September 30th,
it's all the way up in the
It is.
corner there.
Oh,
how it would
hold
affect
on.
the tax rates. My budget right now is approximately 1,300 under the tax cap. This will result in an increase of about $16 to $25 a year. As you can see here, the budget, 2%. Next, here we have, thanks to the great job of the assessors department, you can see that our assessed values of properties over the last 10 years has increased. We have projects that have been completed halfway through the year, and we have some that are coming. Here we have Ready Coffee on 211.
So I'd like to be clear on this. All right. This has absolutely nothing to do with the town budget.
Right.
Right. The town doesn't build anything. Okay, let's be clear on that. The town is not subsidizing private industry, right? Like I love how he kind of like, look at what we're doing with your money, right? Like we're building private companies, right? Like we're developing the town.
No, you're not. You're letting
Right.
other people come in and develop it for us.
Right. This has nothing to do with the budget.
It'll be ready in 2026 and be on the road. East Side residents, the buildings behind 211, they have some buildings open. They'll have hopefully all of them open for 2026.
Those buildings are
And
horrible.
Candlewood.
It does, the idea is this will increase the town's taxable assessed value, right? Which will hopefully keep taxes low, right? You want certain types of development, so it does help, right? Now, how much the town plays a role in that? I mean, you have land, you have space, as more people want to build something, they're going to build something.
Across from Aspire Brewery off North Galleria Drive. Starbucks on Crystal Run, again, came in.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit because, it's a lot of that this is basically what he's talking about. Then we get into water and sewer rates, right? We get into the grants that the town has, that the town does, right?
Well, back from my being told, back in the day, there used to be a railroad track.
So the town now has a walking trail, good information.
We have to make sure that our residents.
I just freeze right there. Just
Last January, the town.
Did they not do any I don't know, spell check? The Walking Trail? Oh, good. The Walking Trail. Circleville.
Milk walking trail, yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe that's a play on words. Who knows?
Investments in the future, infrastructure upgrades, public safety
We have to
technology.
make sure that our residents, our town, are safe. Last January, the town was named the safest town in the country, thanks to the police department. And it's important for us as town officials, we provide the tools that they need to do the job. So they have this virtual reality training, which I'll show you a picture of in a minute. They got drones. Again, the drones.
So the town, yes, the town bought itself a couple of drones, right? So that they could, and if there's an accident or whatever, they can utilize drone technology to survey or do whatever they need to do with it. So when you see those large drones coming over the town of Walkill, it may actually be a town drone.
We've done a lot of paving over the last couple of years. This past year, we invested in a new program called PMG.
So that was what we saw a couple of weeks ago with Howard Mills, the former supervisor of the town, come in.
After we put a lot of money and we pay them. This software is going to allow us.
All right, so we talk a little bit saving, and then we talk about the Little Free Library. I'm not really sure what the Little Free Library has to do with the budget.
It's a good program we have, and next year we're going to.
Glad he talked about the dial-a-bus. We have a very good dial-a-bus program. I think it needs to be expanded more, but
I keep talking about our youth.
Then he keeps talking about programs that the town does, the youth program, right? The virtual reality training, the clean streets, right? Community impact of things, right? So
$16 to $25.
Then he talks about the change in the tax bill, right? What you might expect.
Budget under the cap, $1,300.
And then he talks about it being a balanced budget.
Financial fiscal overview of the town.
Right.
Of this budget. Under the cap, no reduction in service, balance.
So, first of all, I would like to point out, I'm not really sure that he knows what a balanced budget is.
Really? Okay. So explain to us how it should be.
So I'm going to point something out to everybody because I really want people to see what I'm talking about here. Right here at the bottom, I'm not sure if everybody can see it or not. Right? I'm going to try to see if I can make it larger here. Right? Do you see where it says appropriated fund balance $2.8 million?
Yeah.
That's a budget deficit.
Really?
That's your budgetary deficit. Yes. Right? So a balanced budget means that your revenues equal your expenses, and that includes your property taxes, right?
So you're breaking even.
So that everybody understands how it works, right? You have your property taxes, you have your other revenues, and then you have your appropriated fund balance. Your appropriated fund balance means that you're spending something that you've set aside, right? Like money that you've saved up or whatever. Essentially, I guess you can equate it to your savings. That's the way most people learn about it, right? It's your savings, right? That's a budget deficit. That means you have a gap in your budget of $2.8 million.
Ooh, okay.
So I would like to point that out to people because that's not balanced. That's a budgetary deficit. Okay. Right. And then they appropriated another $400,000 in highway, right? So you could look in your highway fund. Okay. And right here at the bottom, okay, you can see the $440,000. That is also appropriated fund balance, right? So this is essentially your budget. I don't have any prior year numbers to compare it to or anything like that. So there's really not much I can give you in terms of comparison, but I wanted to show people that because I think it's important to understand. That's your gap in your budget. That's your gap between your operating costs, okay, the revenues you received, which include the taxes you are levying.
Okay.
On the property taxes you were levying. So this is not a balanced budget, right? Because they're using now. When I was there, they had a $2.8 million budgetary deficit. Okay, And that's a real problem, right? Like, I mean, you have to think about it. I mean, a lot of municipalities are having issues with that. Are going over their cap and having a lot of issues related to this nonsense of using appropriated fund balance. Now, I'm not sure if everybody remembers this.
Okay.
Okay. Because I want to bring something else up. Does everybody remember that I shared this a while ago? The Town of Walk Hill financial management report that was done by the state comptroller's office,
Okay.
right? Okay. So in that report, which I've shared and I talked about on the show, okay.
I think that was in our two-part episode.
Yes, that was in our two-part episode.
Okay, episode
They
27, I think.
They stated that the town has been systematically. Now the term systematically, right? Mr. Carr, who was running for town supervisor, the former councilman, used that same term in his speech. So this isn't something I am making up. This is something he agrees with. Systematically, right? Understated, all right, their revenues by $4.1 million a year.
Wow.
Okay.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is actually. It truly is. So the real question, and then in addition, right, they overstated their expenses by $2.7 million. Okay. Right. So that's $6.8 million
People.
that essentially is missing from your budget. Okay. Or shouldn't be there. Okay. And you're taxing on that, right? Because what are your taxes? Your taxes are the difference between, you have your revenues that you collect from other sources, your sales tax, as I mentioned, your grants, your other things, right? Your interest, those other types of revenue sources.
Right.
Okay. And then you have your appropriations of what you're going to spend. What is the difference? The difference is what you're going to levy in taxes to your constituents. Okay. All right, so the town levies approximately 17.8 or roughly $18 million a year, right? A little less than $18 million a year to the residents of the town of Walk Hill.
Okay.
Okay.
Really?
So if you really think about it, if $6.8 million, that's 37.8% of the levy. So if they didn't understate the expenses or didn't overstate the expenses and didn't understate the revenue, right? They could reduce taxes by 37%.
Oh my God. See,
Right?
this is what I was talking about,
Right.
Well,
So, and that's why I wanted to explain it to everybody. I wanted everybody to understand what this actually means. So the average assessed value in the town for a single family person is $50,000, roughly 30% of the market value of your home.
okay.
Okay. So the average assessed value is $50,000. That means the average taxpayer pays about, I think, something like $2,183 in taxes.
Yeah. Give or take.
Sorry. The town taxes, they're roughly paying about $1,100 in town taxes. My apologies. $1,100 in town taxes is what they're paying. So you pay the county taxes, and then you pay the other taxes, library, fire district, all that, all right, which come to about $2,000. The town taxes, the town piece of that is about $1,100. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. So of the $1,100 you pay in town taxes, you are being overcharged roughly $400.
Ooh. What the fuck?
Yeah, right. Just to put it in terms that people can understand, you are overpaying your taxes by $400 because they've been charging you for it, and they haven't done anything with that money. They've been socking it away, right, in a savings account. So when
Wow.
Ralph gets out there and he starts saying, "Well, we have plenty of money in the bank," that's your money that they were. This budget, right, is how they spend your money, and you got zero information from that. So what I would like to do next is, allow people to understand, okay, their budget.
Here we go. This is going to be good.
Right. So, trying to get this big enough for everybody to see. Hold on a second. There we go. How's that? Can you see that, Denise?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So when you look at this, one of the first things I wanted to show everybody was salaries. The supervisor in the town of Waukegan, all right, makes roughly $122,706 annually. Okay, this is one of the highest paid supervisors in Orange County. As comparison, I wanted to show you Goshen, $97,000, Blooming Grove, $89,000. Monroe, $80,000. Warwick, $80,000. Right? Cornwall, $78,000. Why is the town of Waukegan supervisor paid so much more, right, than other supervisors in the county?
I want to also point out one other thing, because when Serrano came into office 4 years ago, the salary was $100,000. So he's raised it $22,000. 22% essentially over the last 4 years. Have any of you gotten a 22% raise in your daily jobs? I sure haven't.
In addition to him getting his pension from being a police officer, right? I mean, this guy is grossly enriching himself. This isn't even like a little bit anymore. And now you have Ralph Carr coming out of the woodwork going, "I'll take 122,000." I don't know who wouldn't take 122,000, right? I mean, that's just gross enrichment. As a town board member, as a council person, you can see town of Waukegan again, right? One of the top in the county. Okay, Goshen is the only one that's higher on this list. Okay,
no, not higher.
15, yeah, a little bit. 19,700.
Oh, on council people. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, council people, right? So then Blooming Grove, 15,000. Monroe, 17,000. Warwick, 12,000. And Cornwall, 14,000. Okay, so what you're looking at here is you're looking at these guys have put the bond rating in the garbage. They haven't managed their finances correctly. They don't really know what they're doing. They can't really function. We heard, if anybody's been following, on Facebook, you'll see that there are issues with the Town of Waukegan Soccer League. These guys have been doing everything for themselves. I mean, this is just sheer unadulterated greed at this point. And if they've helped you or they've done something for you, it probably was in service of trying to keep their jobs, right? I mean, at the end of the day, their goal is to keep their job. So let's go into the budget a little bit. This is your property tax levy breakdown, right? So what is your levy pay for? What are your taxes paying for? Roughly about 43% of your taxes go toward your general fund. 38% of your taxes go towards highway. 9% of your assessment goes towards water, and 11% goes towards sewer if you're in those districts. If you're not in the water and sewer district, then you don't have to worry about those taxes. But that's essentially your levy breakdown. All right. George didn't provide this. I wanted to have the ability to provide it to people because I really want people to see, more budget stuff, right? This is what I meant. This isn't the town of Waukegan because I didn't have historical data because, as you saw, the town didn't provide historical data.
They never do.
In their budget, which they never do. But I wanted to kind of give this as an idea of what this means, right? So your dotted line is your revenues of your town, okay, which are usually pretty flat. The solid line is what you would consider to be your appropriations. So your taxes are the difference between your appropriations and that dotted line. So the solid line and the dotted blue line, right? That's essentially your taxes, or what you're paying. That's your levy, as it were. So if you think about it, if that revenue number, if that dotted line is actually higher, right? If it's 40% higher, then you're paying less taxes.
Okay.
End of story, right? And then this is the analysis, because I thought it was a really fair analysis of how the money is essentially being spent, right? So the town pays essentially 26% of the town's budget is made up of police services. Okay. Right. Which is the two largest, right, are your police services and your
And
payroll
payroll.
benefits, and that's not payroll in terms of salary. That's just your benefits. Okay. That's your health care, your pension, your taxes, right? Like that's just that. Okay.
Wow.
So you can see how significant it is, right? You could probably say, so they remember I said that they gave a part-timer benefits,
Yes.
right? The
Yes.
part-timer in the supervisor's office
Yep.
benefits. You would save more money for the town by not giving that guy benefits than you would by cutting a judge position. Like look at the courts. The courts are 2% of this budget.
Wow.
Okay.
And they bring in a lot of revenue.
You're going to cut a judge saying we need to save money, but they're only 2% of your budget. Like this is the joke. Okay. You want to say, like, this is how your municipality is broken down. This is something I've always harped on. As the town has grown, the road maintenance should have grown. The road maintenance in the town is only 12%.
Right.
Right. Well, if you're only spending 12% of your money and you have all these roads out there to maintain them, right? That's why all our roads, like you heard that guy, they quoted that guy. Most of our roads are about a C rating. Well, that's why you're not spending any money on your roads. You didn't grow your roads the way you grew your police department.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, right, your police really cost you are about 40% of your budget, because those benefits, those taxes, all that kind of stuff include your police. They include all the employees. So that's for all the employees.
Got it.
Right. So once you start breaking that blue oval, that blue down, right, you start realizing these departments are really, really expensive. But I thought that was a good way to break it down for people so that they understand where their taxes are going, what they're paying for. That would have been a good budget presentation to do if I had been supervisor, right? Like, this is how your money is being spent. This is what's fixed within that, and this is where we want to improve on, right? That is more than the development that the town doesn't actually spend any money on.
Right. This is just who we're letting in to build all over our green areas.
Right. That's right. That's what it is. So this is your analysis on the budget itself. And
So what is the wind up here, that we want to make sure people are aware of, because we're getting, obviously, we've already pointed out in previous episodes that Ralph has basically two sides of this discussion. On one set of advertising, and he claimed there was nothing wrong with the finances, everything is good, we just don't know how to report them. And now, last week you attended a quote unquote debate. Wasn't really a debate, it was more of a meet and
Right.
greet, wherein Ralph Carr said we got all kinds of problems.
Well,
It-
this is what, so Ralph talked about, right? Ralph said, well, he got into the town, right, into politics because of a $1.8 million budget deficit. He said that. That was what he said. He said, oh, the town was going to sell the old Townley Hall. They didn't end up selling it, and we had look, we're at 2.8 million. We're actually over $3 million, because if you add the highway fund, you're at what, $3.2 million.
right.
And this is why I believe we've been carrying this budget deficit forever. If you've been carrying a budget deficit forever, right, you're going to run out of money.
Yeah.
Right. This is
Yeah,
how you know
absolutely.
the budget is a lie, right? Because and they didn't address any of the comptroller's issues, because if they did, they wouldn't be touting this $2.8 million budget deficit. And if they're carrying a $2.8 million budget deficit, we all are in trouble. We are absolutely all in trouble because these guys don't know how to manage a budget. Otherwise, this is, if you think about it, right? $3.2 million, but on a $6.8 million revenue that they're not, or right revenues and expenses which are being manipulated. At the end of the day, the town still is net positive $3 million, right? $3.2 million. So that means that this is, although it's telling you it's giving you back money, it's actually going to be receiving money.
Got it.
So
this falls back. So this falls back to the town being overtaxed, or do we need to do? Or do we need
back
to tax?
To the town being overtaxed, but with the caveat, somebody needs to fix this budget. Okay, this is
You're asking a lot in the town of Wallkill.
Fix this because you cannot manage anything, right? If you don't know where your finances are at any given moment, and you don't know what your cash flow is, and you don't know what you have in the bank, and you don't know what your fund balance numbers are, and you're budgeting $3.2 million in a budget deficit, you got to figure this shit out quick. I'm sorry, because at some point in time, those numbers clash, right? And we're seeing it throughout the county where, a number of these municipalities are going over the cap. Okay.
Yes.
And it just needs to be rectified. Okay. I don't know what the rectification is in this instance because I'm not in there. I don't have access to the numbers. They're not giving you the numbers, right? You have to fight with them to get the numbers. It's craziness that this stuff is still going on, and that they received the comptroller's draft report over a year and a half ago, and they still haven't addressed these issues.
Correct.
These issues are still existing. So when they tell you, oh, we fixed the problem, right? They're continuing to I'm telling you, they didn't. You can see. You can see for yourself. They haven't fixed a damn thing. Okay? Right? They may be spending all this money to catch up, and we've heard $1 million now that they've spent covering this shit up. How about you could have taken $1 million and actually fixed it?
Yes. And you know what? We're finding out that another TOW, town of Wawayanda in this case, we have a lot of TOWs in Orange County, is having financial issues as well. There's a post actually posted in the town of Wallkill United about the town of Wawayanda financial operations. Did the town of Wawayanda town board and officials properly manage financial operations? Here, I'll share this.
Yep. It was basically the same thing I just kind of went through here. Understating revenues, overstating expenses. Now, one thing I would like to point out when somebody puts in a report systematically.
Yes.
And it happens over a long period of time, that usually means there was intent to do it. This wasn't a mistake. Okay? And that's concerning that this is what's being done. And we hear the councilmen talk about this. We hear the supervisor. This is what we want to do. We want to overtax you. Right? Like, they're literally telling you that right up front. Oh, yeah,
Jesus.
We're understating revenues, right? And we're overstating expenses because we want to overtax you.
And what do you do with that money?
Now, one of the things that Ralph pointed out, and I didn't address last week, and I wanted to he pointed it out in that quasi meeting debate thing, right? That happened at the HOA. And that was related to that one of the most egregious years, okay, was in 2020, was the budget in 2021. Okay. Or that was completed in 2021, right? So here's the thing. Okay. We got to the end of that year, and I had to pull up this resolution, okay? So this goes back to 2021. You can see, right? This is the budget adjustment, right? The sales tax that Frank had put up was $6.5 million. So he may not have had the actual numbers, but he knew, okay, that the revenues were being shortchanged, that something was off, okay? So he bumped up the sales tax numbers, and if you go back to the vote, you will see Frank and I said no to that, okay? And the other three board members, Councilman Johnson, Councilman Coyne, and Councilman Valentin, all decreased the sales tax numbers, right? To intentionally understate the sales tax numbers. And they also did that with the hotel tax, to intentionally understate the sales tax numbers, even though they knew it was going to be higher. They intentionally did it because they wanted to overtax residents.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Why do you think they would do that?
It's a good question.
That's a
You
question we
tell me.
should.
I've been asking that question. That seems to be that seems to be the telltale sign, right? I mean, back in 2022, right, Ralph was pointing to the 2022 audit and said, "Oh, the town has $12 million." Well, that doesn't really make a lot of sense, right? Like Frank
No.
is right about that. It doesn't make sense if you're putting back in the till, right? $6 million, $5 million, maybe going down every year. But if you're putting this money back into the savings account, where did all the money go?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. And,
And
you
can
know,
you quantify that in your budget, like what you spent? And if you
so,
can't, then we got another problem, right?
and that's part of the issue, right? Is because they do all these budget amendments, right? They hire all these people without, you know, by doing things behind the scenes. There are a lot of so if you go back to that report, both O'Connor Davies report in 2021 and the state comptroller's draft report, you'll see that budget amendments were done that weren't approved by the board. Okay,
Wow.
so who is adjusting the budget? Who is adjusting the budget? Okay, to ensure that whatever it is that they like, either hiring people or whatever, right, was like, what was happening there, right?
Yeah.
Like, what money, because that quantifies to their spending money, right? If
Yeah.
they're adjusting the budget, that means they're spending that money. What are they spending that money on? And if the board isn't aware of it, who is and why,
That's
right?
a good
So
question.
it there's a real lack of transparency from between the town board and the accounting department. And, you don't know who knows what and who's doing what. Just like we heard at the meeting the last time, right, where it seemed that one councilman or maybe more didn't know what was going on, and one councilman seemed to have all the information.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's just not a good situation, right? Because your boards are supposed to operate as committees, whether you like the people on the board or not.
Right. Right.
It's government by committee. You know, you want differences on the board. You want to come up with the best result, but also you want to make sure that you're making the right decisions. And if somebody's making those decisions behind closed doors,
Yeah.
you're not get. That's how the town got into trouble in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to remind folks, when Frank was in his first term, one of the first things that he did was to put the work sessions on Zoom, so you could watch the work sessions as
Yep.
well as the town board meetings. That ended when he left, when Serrano came in. It hasn't been back since, and we know that votes are happening behind closed doors.
Yes.
And
So
that's supposed to happen in public. We're supposed to be able to see that because we're the ones freaking paying the bill here.
right. So the way open meeting laws works is that anything that the town board votes on, right, the public is supposed to give not only be given 24 hours notice on it, they are supposed to be given the opportunity to
Mhm.
speak. It doesn't mean a public hearing. It just means an opportunity to speak. Okay? So that's why they have that that at the beginning of the meeting where they say, "Does anybody have any comments on agenda items only?"
Right,
Okay? Right? That's there because that's what the law says.
right.
You know?
But what
So,
if that agenda doesn't include items that they were talking about at the recent work session?
well, that's the thing. If they make a consensus, then they're supposed to vote at a meeting. Listen, you can vote at these these special meetings, but it's like you're not giving the public, they're not emergency. They really should only be for emergency use only. They shouldn't be for regular items that could wait to a board meeting. Like again, they had a number of resolutions at Wednesday's board meeting, and they are having a board meeting on Thursday, right? And some of those were really interesting, and they weren't done at the board meeting, and it was sort of like you're not giving the public the opportunity which you're supposed to be giving them, which the open meeting law says you're supposed to give them, to comment on that agenda item. So, and because it happened behind closed doors and there's no video of it, people can't watch it. They don't know what the discussion was, they don't know what happened, and these guys never discuss it at a meeting. So you're
So,
literally waiting for minutes to come out, but you don't actually get full minutes. They're work session minutes. So work session minutes don't give as much detail.
it's a mess. So, folks, come on. You got to make your vote count. Nov- we can vote now. If you're waiting till November 4th, that's fine. Whatever you got to do, but you got to really take a look because we're being overtaxed. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is we are being overtaxed, and you just heard from Neil, possibly as much as 37%. See, even Casey's pissed. You can hear him in the back squawking.
Again, that bit, again, on what I see, I don't know. Like, again, I'm not there. I don't have actual numbers. They're not giving me actual numbers. They never let me into the books. Right. So, but based on just this top level, right? Like they're clearly not fixing what they need to fix inside.
Yeah, could be worse for all we know. All right,
Could
folks.
be. You never know.
All right, folks. Do with you what you need to with this information. All right. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. All right. And we will talk to you soon. Take care.
Peace out.